Well, hello, friends. Welcome to the Ladybird browser update for January 2025. It's been another great month in the project. Happy New Year, by the way. Let me get right into it. So, the first thing we always do is thank our sponsors. Of course, Ladybird is funded entirely by sponsorships and donations from folks and companies that care about the open web. And they like that we are building an independent implementation of all the web standards. So if you like that as well, and you would consider sponsoring the project, check out ladybird.org for information about that. All right, so let's take a look at January 2025. A bunch of things have happened in terms of raw metrics. We had 241 pull requests from 33 contributors. So that's a bit less than last month, but these things go up and down. And in these pull requests, we certainly had a lot of interesting stuff. So let's take a look. Now, the first thing I like to look at is web platform tests. So we certainly did a lot of engine work, as usual, to improve our score on WPT. This is the sort of interoperability slash spec compliance benchmark for the entire web. It's almost like 2 million tests at this point. And we have almost 25,000 new passing tests this month. And our total test pass count is 1.763 million something. So this is great progress. We are continuing forward with good momentum. Although I will say the easy points are basically behind us at this point, and they are getting a bit harder to come by. But we will keep working on this, obviously. And something very nice this month is that we've reached 99% pass rate on the web crypto tests. And that is higher than any other browser. So we currently have the most complete slash compliant web crypto API implementation, at least as measured by the web platform tests. So that's very, very cool. Okay, so if we look at all the browsers in context, or at least the sort of top 3 major engines and the 3 underdog engines, if you will, this is where we all were a month ago. And fast forwarding to today, we are now here. So if I toggle back and forth, you can see that everybody improved a little bit over the last month, but Ladybird improves at a slightly higher pace than everybody else, which is exactly what we like to see. So that's cool. And WPT also has, I think, over 1 million encoding tests for Chinese, Japanese, and Korean text encoding. And I like to do a version of this graph with those tests skipped or excluded, just so that you can see a little bit less biased number. So you can see more clearly here that we are skipping ahead a little bit faster than everybody else, which is it's just beautiful. Now, as I was saying earlier, we've definitely exhausted all the low-hanging fruit. So these WPT points are getting harder to come by, but we continue working on it because we want to improve and catch up to the top 3, obviously. Okay, so another benchmark that's been doing really well is test 262, which is the sort of the official compliance test for the JavaScript language, or ECMAScript. So we are actually the most compliant JavaScript engine at the moment, with 97.4% pass rate on test 262. That is better than any of the major browsers and any other engine. Not saying that it will stay this way, but it's certainly something that we're really happy with, because we've put a lot of effort into making our JavaScript engine as correct as possible. And this is very nice to see. So very, very proud of everyone who contributed to our JavaScript engine, making it the number 1 in compliance. Super, super cool. And I'm sure that the other browsers are going to try to catch up. But we're going to try to push forward as well. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so this month we finally found and fixed the eval bug that broke the Google anti-bot system. So until now, Google has been thinking that we're a bot or some kind of scraper or whatever when we try to use Google services. But now that we fixed the eval bug, we can finally log into Google services, which means that we can do stuff like use Google Calendar, which we also ended up fixing a bunch of layout issues on Google Calendar once we could start using it. We can also use Gmail. Very, very cool. There are more layout issues here that we need to fix, but it is super awesome to see the modern Gmail interface working in Ladybird. Very, very awesome. I have been told in the past that Ladybird will never, ever be good enough to use Gmail, and being able to use Gmail is very satisfying after being told this. So thank you, whoever provided that unintentional motivation. I forget who it was. And this month, we also have a bunch of new CSS properties. So we have contain, isolation, user select, block size, min block size, max block size. We continue adding more and more CSS properties as we refine and improve our engine. Obviously, we want to support everything that is in wide use on the web. So this is an ongoing thing. We've also improved our light and dark mode support. So we now handle the color scheme meta tag. We can handle the color scheme property in CSS, and also the light dark function now works when you want to select one color or the other, depending on whether you're in light or dark mode. So these are just some things that we're doing to improve our support for mode switching on the web. And as I mentioned earlier, our web crypto API support has gotten really good. We are at 99% pass rate on WPT, and we've added a bunch of these new elliptic curves and things that we support. And we've also continued migrating to OpenSSL as the backend instead of our own cryptographic code that we originally wrote for Serenity OS. So by switching to OpenSSL, we get more performance, stability, correctness, all of that good stuff. And we're just building on top of industry standard encryption, which is nice and wholesome. Okay, let's take a look at a demo so we can see where Ladybird is currently at. So let's go take Ladybird for a spin. We'll start by visiting some of the Google services that I talked about. I guess I'll have to log in here. I'm Awkward Kling, of course, on Google. And we should be able to get in. Because as I mentioned, we are passing those bot guard checks now. And it says that this browser version is no longer supported. Perhaps in the past we were once supported, but not anymore. I'm just going to close that. And oh, shoot, it looks like somebody wants to do a paid YouTube collaboration with Awkward Kling. Let's ignore that for now. But yeah, as you can see here, Gmail modern interface is working. That is very, very, very cool. And there are layout issues everywhere and all kinds of little things that we need to improve. It's also not as fast as it could be, but as you can see, this is Gmail, and we can certainly interact with and use the site. I wonder if we can compose a message. I haven't tried that. Okay, I can't click dismiss here, so that might actually prevent me from progressing. Okay, well, more stuff to fix. Let me also show you Google Calendar. We are now logged into Google, so we should at least get it to pop open pretty quickly. And here, this looks pretty good as well. Let me see if I can create an event. Test event. Oh, I've never tested this before, but let's try it out. Oh, shit. It says saved, but still has no title here. Okay. Well, as you can see, Google Calendar kind of sort of works. Definitely need to work on some of the interactions are not doing what I expect, but huge progress from not being able to log into Google Calendar at all to actually being able to use it a little bit. But yeah, more stuff to do. A site that I worked on this month was the Tailwind CSS Playground, which is sort of just an HTML playground where you can mess around with Tailwind and see sort of the results live here. Now, live editing is a little wonky, but I can kind of edit. I can't move the cursor around yet. And it doesn't quite update over here yet. Even so, the site actually works. It loads, it displays stuff. We just need to make it more interactive. But yeah, some layout work had to go into this, and it's now looking kind of sort of good. Let's take a look at another site. So Figma is a big, complex web app that we were a little bit intimidated by in the past, perhaps, because it's building on a lot of WebAssembly and WebGL. And nowadays, our support for WebGL is getting kind of goodish. So we should be able to log in here to Figma, I guess, with my Google account. So I'll just use awkward cling. And oh my goodness, my recovery phone changed. Okay, well, I'm definitely going to cut out the part where I put my phone number, but okay. Well, I was able to get an SMS with the with the code, and let's see if we can set up our account here. Seems to be working. Very cool. So we were able to go through the sign up flow, or at least authenticating with Google. Now we're in. I guess I'm just going to be awkward cling here. I do mostly software development, and I suppose I'm at a company, and I have teammates. No. Okay, so this is pretty interesting. Just a few times. And yeah, it's just awesome to see this kind of stuff working. So let's see if we can make a new file. And I know that Figma is kind of crashy. We've had a bunch of stability issues, so I don't know how far we'll get here. But just the fact that we can log in is amazing. Okay, it may have hung there. Let's try again. Oops. Let's try that one more time. Now that we're already logged in and everything. It would be cool if we could get it up and working. But it may not be in the cards. We'll see. I'll get this FigJam basics. Okay, no. Still have a bunch of work to do here, clearly. Maybe? Oh, wow, that is one goofy animation. Yeah, so we definitely have more to do on Figma, but we are making progress. This is still awesome. I'm still excited about it. So let's leave it at that for now. We'll come back to more Figma next time, maybe. And something that I worked on that's kind of near and dear to my heart is the Web Platform Test dashboard. So until recently, this was just not possible to load in Ladybird. It would take many, many minutes before the site would load. I've gotten it down to where it loads in maybe 7-8 seconds total. So that is something that makes the site actually usable. Now, we can't render the graph yet because we are missing off-screen canvas support. But it is very, very cool that we can use this. Of course, I have to add that we want to look at the Ladybird product here if we want to see our own scores, which would make it a little bit more interesting. So let's see if we can scroll down, and yeah, we can see Ladybird test scores. Our latest one is 1.76 million. Very, very awesome. And we can even go into subdirectories and look at subtests and stuff. And it just works in Ladybird. It's amazing. We also have our own tracking Grafana dashboard on linegoUp.lol. Although sometimes you have to reload once or twice. And this dashboard shows us all the browsers, and we can kind of see a graph of how they've been developing over time, which is really awesome. Ladybird is the red line here. And as you can see, it's just trending upwards very nicely. A couple of hiccups here and there, but it's just on a steady climb, which is really cool. So we have, just to clarify, this purple is Servo. We have Ladybird, Flow, Safari, Edge, Chrome at the top. And this green line here is, so Apple has a threshold where you have to pass 90% of the WPT tests in order to qualify as an alternative browser engine on iOS in countries where they allow alternative browser engines. So that's sort of our next target, is to get above this line, because that would mean that we qualify as a potential alternative browser engine on iOS. Now, there are other criteria as well, but for WPT, that's the number we need to hit to get on iOS, which would be really cool in the future. All right. Before we go, I want to thank everybody who contributed to Ladybird in January of 2025. The list here of names is everybody who contributed code in the month of January. Thank you all so much. I'm so glad that we're all here working on this together. This is awesome. I love it. I hope you're having a good time too. If you're interested in working on Ladybird, even if you've never worked on a browser before, come join our Discord server. There are new people joining every week, learning how to work on browsers. And there's plenty of stuff to work on. A lot of easy things that you can do to get started. Everybody just has to find what they're interested in. Come chat with us. All right. So thank you for checking out this video, for staying up to date with Ladybird. Thank you to all of our sponsors and donors. Thanks to everybody who works on the code, everybody who talks about Ladybird on social media and all these things. Really, really awesome. We're off to a great start this year, and I think 2025 is going to be amazing. We're going to have to push really hard to get ready for an alpha in 2026, which is what we're aiming for. But I think we're going to be able to do it. So again, if you're interested in helping out, working on this, come join us on Discord. Link in the description. Until next time, take care.